So, what if I told you that a tiny, almost invisible component could actually tell us the future of the entire tech industry? Well, today we're digging into micromechanics, a company that makes exactly those kinds of super precise parts for the biggest semiconductor companies in the world. And their latest financial report? It's so much more than just numbers on a page. It's really a story about strategy, about being tough, and about what's next for technology. Let's get into it. Okay, so right off the bat, the headline number from their first quarter of fiscal year 2026, that's for the 3 months ending in September 2025, seems kind of meh. Net profit grew just 2.7% from last year. Now, in the crazy fast world of semiconductors, you might just glance at that and think, okay, next. But trust me, that would be a huge mistake.
Because behind this one simple-looking percentage, there is a way more complex and, honestly, a really fascinating story. It's a story about resilience, about having a laser-sharp focus, and about a company juggling two completely different business realities at the exact same time. So, what is really going on behind that 2.7%?
All right, every great story needs a beginning, and for micromechanics, it all starts right here with their financial results. To really get what's going on, we first have to look at the numbers that set the scene for the whole quarter. Okay, now what's really interesting here is how these numbers talk to each other. Look at revenue. It's up a steady 2.9% to 16.7 million Singapore dollars. Fine. But then look at gross profit. It grew even faster, up 4.5%. So how does that happen? Well, the answer is right there at the bottom. The gross profit margin got bigger, hitting 51.5%. What that means in plain English is for every dollar of stuff they sold, they got to keep more of it as profit. The company calls this an improvement in earnings quality, and it's because they're getting more efficient. So yeah, the growth looks modest, but the actual profitability, that's getting stronger. All right, let's move on because this is where the plot really thickens. That overall 2.9% revenue growth we just saw, it is not one smooth, simple trend. Nope, it's actually the result of two parts of the company pulling in completely opposite directions. And wow, this chart just leaves it all out, doesn't it? You can see right away that their consumable tools segment is the big engine, bringing in 13.7 million bucks. The other part is wafer fab equipment, or WFE for short. Think of these as the bigger, more complex parts for the machines that build the chips. That brought in 3 million. So one segment is clearly carrying the team right now, but the story gets even more dramatic when you look at how they did compared to last year. This slide right here is the whole story in a nutshell. On the left, you've got the hero of the quarter, consumable tools. Revenue is up a super healthy 7.9% to a 13-quarter high. Awesome. But on the right, the WFE segment is telling a totally different story. Revenue fell over 15%. Now, the key thing here is the why. It wasn't because people stopped buying. It was a supply chain problem, specifically material delays and shortages. And here's the proof, the real kicker. New orders for that struggling WFE segment actually shot up by 20% from the last quarter. So the business is there, they just couldn't get the stuff out the door fast enough. This contrast is the real tension of the whole report. So you've got to be wondering, right? With one part of your business on fire and the other facing these massive roadblocks, how do you even navigate that? Well, the answer is in their core internal strategy, something they call the 5-star factory plan. This is basically their playbook for controlling everything they possibly can. What this is, really, is a deep-down focus on the fundamentals. It's a bottom-up approach, which means it's not just some memo from the corner office. It's about driving excellence from the factory floor all the way up. The whole point is to build a foundation so solid that it can handle the wild ups and downs of the semiconductor industry.
And the plan is built on these 5 pillars. It covers everything. Pillar 1, fast, effective, and local support. That's all about being close to your customers with their 5 facilities around the world. Operational excellence is about smart stuff like managing inventory so you don't have too much or too little. Innovation excellence is R&D, buying the next-gen machines. High-performance teams is about their people, giving them incentives that align with the company's goals. And finally, workplace efficiency and safety, just making everything as smooth and safe as possible. You see, this isn't just some fluffy mission statement. It's a real detailed plan for how they run the business.
Okay, so a 5-star plan sounds great on paper, but does it actually work? Does it produce real results? Well, let's check the books. Let's look at the company's balance sheet, because this is where the strategy turns into cold, hard cash, and it shows they are building what you can only call a financial fortress. Let's start with this big one, 27.2 million Singapore dollars. That is the company's net cash position. And that isn't just cash sitting in the bank. It's the cash they have left over after you account for everything they owe. That is a massive safety net and gives them incredible flexibility.
Next up, $3.8 million. This is the positive free cash flow they made in just this one quarter. So after paying for all their operations, all their investments in new equipment, they still had $3.8 million in cash left over. This is all about being super efficient at managing the money that flows in and out every day. And here it is, the final and maybe the most impressive number of them all, 0. That is the amount of money Micromechanics owes to banks. They are completely, totally debt-free. So you put it all together, a huge pile of cash, generating more cash and 0 debt. And what you get is a ridiculously strong company, ready to invest or to weather any storm that comes its way.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The CEO himself, Kyle Bork, says it directly. This financial strength is not an accident. It's a deliberate strategy. He connects it right to disciplined money management and their big goal, delivering long-term sustainable value. The numbers we just saw, that's the proof in the pudding.
Okay, so we've seen the inside story. A company with one powerhouse segment, one challenged segment, a killer operational strategy, and a rock-solid balance sheet. So now let's pull the camera back and look at the massive opportunity that's right in front of them, the semiconductor market itself.
I mean, just look at these numbers. This chart shows just how big this wave is going to be. The market is forecast to hit $728 billion in 2025 and then grow almost 10% to a mind-blowing $800 billion in 2026. This growth is being driven by demand for electronics and a rebound in the WFE market. You know, the exact market where Micromechanics is facing supply issues, not demand issues. This is like a giant tailwind getting ready to push their entire business forward.
And that really brings us to the final big question. We have a company that has clearly done all the hard work internally. Their 5-star factory plan and their financial discipline have made them tough as nails. They're staring at a booming market that could lift everybody up. So the critical question is, can they solve their supply chain problems in the WFE segment to really ride this wave? That little 2.7% growth number we started with, it's the perfect snapshot of this exact tension, the battle between their internal strength and these external problems. And how they solve that? Well, that's going to be the story to watch.